Alright guys, have I experienced racism married to a Filipina? I've got to say yes. I'm going to put my glasses on because I can't see a thing in a minute. Um, but I've got to admit, didn't really see much in the Philippines. Although a lot of people say it's quite racist there, I would actually say it's more to do with the fact that most people are tourists. Um, any tourists anywhere on the planet gets exploited. I've yet to be anywhere where the locals treat tourists as if they're exactly the same. You always get overcharged. So from that point of view, I would say there was nothing really in my experience in the Philippines that would actually say it was negative. What you'd have is overcharging, which, like I said, as a tourist they assume you're going to pay more anyway, so I can't really use that. In Spain, same thing. I live in a tourist area. I'll just give you a quick spin round, so if you get seasick, I apologise, but this is where I live. As you can see, I'm in a tourist area. Most of these houses are empty most of the year, and quite simply overcharging is the norm here because most people make most of their money in the holiday season. So in Spain, where I have, and my experiences here, I found the Spanish to be very good. Not really had any racial issues. I know one of the bars I go to, they have said that they have been told by Spanish, why don't you speak Spanish? But as I said to them, because I thought you were English. Because she then spoke to them in Spanish, and then they were suddenly all quiet after they'd been abusive in Spanish to suddenly realise she understood what they were saying. But generally not had any problems. I know some people say they have problems with Guardia and stuff, but I have to be fair on this. At the end of the day, the drunkenness and stuff that goes up in Benidorm, I fully can understand why some people dislike the Brits. So I waver that. You know, at the end of the day, people come to Benidorm and some other areas just to get drunk and just be a bit of a fool. So in that sense, I fully understand that. So I can't really put that in the mix either. But I would say my career was sort of hampered by racism. A previous boss of mine, I was at an engineering conference when he said to me, your wife shouldn't come to the UK because she's not British. And I'm like, well, she's legally allowed to come to the UK anyway. But I sort of took it back for the time, but then it was things like when I was trying to come back to Spain, he would actually make sure I didn't know where I was. I'd get calls on a Friday at like 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock to let me know where I was on Monday. Him knowing full well it takes 12 hours to book a flight. You could have a 12-hour window, which means I couldn't fly till Saturday and I'd be flying back Sunday, so then you would never go home. And basically he did it on purpose, because I know from other people in the business, he knew up to 2 months in advance where I was. He just did it on purpose and very disruptive. And even when you bring it up, he was like, well, I need you to be available, but I'm neither on call and I don't do weekends, so I am available Monday to Friday, which is my contractual obligation of 37.5 hours a week. Yet I'm often doing 55 to 60 hours a week, and the response is you need to be flexible. So, but the thing is, I did highlight it as an issue, in the sense that I was leaving the business, and somebody asked me, because you have to fill in a form and stuff to say why you're leaving, and I put it in, and it became a bit of a grievance of the fact that I'm leaving because there was an issue with racism. At which point the management, which will be part and parcel of why Carillion failed, sort of pulled rank and tried to be as disruptive as possible. They tried to sack me before I left, and the whole joke on this is, even within their own policies, you couldn't even do it in the timescale because I was already leaving anyway. But at the same time, I wasn't just leaving because of that issue. There was other things, like the fact, as you see now, Carillion is now bankrupt. I could see this 3 years ago, and I was trying to help the business get back on track. Instead, they tried to shaft me well and truly. So yes, I've experienced racism married to a Filipina, but from an unexpected location. I wouldn't have expected it from the UK. But then again, Carillion is racist in the Middle East as well, but the Middle East is still normal. And this is where somebody brought up something recently, and I said, look, that's the way it is there. I mean, I can't dictate to a country how they should perform and do outside my own. Now, Carillion has policies of equality, anti-racism, and all this sort of stuff. And yet, at the same time, if I was Pakistani or Indian or Filipino, their salaries would be well below what I get paid when I was working for them. Also treated differently. I get hotels, they get worker camps. It's all that sort of stuff. And then at the same time, you've got people talking as if butter wouldn't melt in their mouth. In the same way, there's a couple of guys I was working with out in the Middle East. Basically, one comes from an Indian family and one comes from, I'm not sure if they're Arab or Pakistani origins. And the reason I bring this up is they couldn't get to director level. You know, they couldn't go up another tier. And it wasn't because of their abilities, because they were very, very capable and very good at what they did. But you know what? They now work at other companies and they're both directors. In fact, they were directors as soon as they transferred to new companies. They were basically penalized for their race. And I'm not for that. Myself, a lot of these guys at the top were simply Anglo-Saxon morons. Nepotism was rife. A lot of the people had transferred from the Navy, etc., and got jobs with their chums in Carillion, etc. I'm not for all that, because they don't bring anything to the table. They're incompetent in the military and they're incompetent in the business, which is why people like myself and others had to hop around contracts, basically propping them up, where these morons had screwed things up and you'd have to come in and rebuild it, get it running again, and then they'd put another muppet back in. But anyway, am I bitter about it? I'm not bitter. I've got to admit, I've had to air it today because it is something that's been at the back of my mind, because I know it's hindered my career since, because they didn't like some of the truth coming out, even though it was going nowhere. I've been approached by several legal entities relating to Carillion now. They want to prosecute Carillion. At the same time, should I bother? The answer to that, I don't really know. At the end of the day, the money's gone. The people at the top will walk away regardless. It's British home stores all over. So there is no positive outcome from it. And honestly, it's just a pity that a lot of people were affected, that they actually did a job for a living. And on top of that, life moves on. Anyway, thanks for watching.